Hey you, hey, it's me, sexologist Shamira, and you are listening to another conversation on the green couch with sexologist Shamira. In this conversation, I want to wrap up National Kink Month. For those of you who remember, October is National Kink Month, and I encouraged you to explore your kinky side by using some of the things that you might already have in your homes, either with yourself or with a partner. Send me a message and tell me how you did. And if you need more help in that area, send me a message so we can see how I can help you. So hopefully now you know that kink is whatever you make it, right? It's not something that you need to be a specific part of a specific community to. Your community can be wherever you are, which is in your home, in your bed, in your bathroom, in your kitchen, under your kitchen table, on your desk, in your off, you get it? Great. And you don't need a partner to be kinky. That's the other part to that. I also want to discuss something that comes up very often and has been coming up a lot is orgasm for people who have a vulva and a clitoris, and the gap that is known as the orgasm gap. So we are going to get into that today. But first, back to Kink Month. Again, you don't need a partner to be kinky, and kink just means anything that is outside of what is considered your common or your normal types of sex play. So that could be the spanking that some of you like. Some of you even like choking, but I do not recommend any type of asphyxiation play for people who are untrained in that, because that can lead to serious injury, including death, if you don't know what you're doing. So that also means kink can be ice play. It can be temperature play, different types of sensation play. Sensation play is basically when you experiment with different types of temperature and textures. So it could be with ice, with water, with warmth, such as wax. That's considered sensation play. And then there's impact. Spanking is a form of impact play. Paddling is a form of impact play. There's flogging. Breath play, that's another thing. There's so many different types of ways for you to be kinky, and you don't even have to call any of it play. You could tickle your partner if that's a thing that you like to do. Tickling can be kinky for a lot of people. And let's say you are unpartnered. So, Shamira, how can I be kinky by myself? Well, there are ticklers that you can use by yourself. You can engage in wax play by yourself. You can engage in ice play by yourself. Can you tie yourself up? If you are a pro, if you are a rigger, you can tie yourself up. But I would only recommend tying up like one side of you, just so you can have a side that is free so that you can turn yourself loose. There are other ways that you can engage in kink by yourself, and hopefully you have discovered that. Also, you don't need to go out and buy a lot of the expensive equipment to engage in kink. You can engage in kink with some of the stuff in your home. For example, if you have a Kleenex or a napkin, you can engage in sensation play by rubbing that Kleenex and that napkin all over your body and touching different erogenous zones. If you have a rubber band and you like that type of sensation play that stings, you can pop a rubber band on you and your partner. If you have a safety pin and you like different types of pain, you can poke yourself or your partner with that. What about clothespins? Clothespins can be used for all different types of kink. You can use those as nipple clamps. You can use those during cock and ball torture. You can use those in clit torture. I know you might be screeching if this isn't your kink, but that's okay because we don't yuck anyone else's yum in kink. So if it's not for you, that doesn't mean that it's not for someone else. So enjoy exploring yourselves. Continue to use your mouth and talk to your partner about your likes and dislikes. Okay? And again, if you need any help in that area, send me a message. You can send me a DM on Instagram at sexologist or you can email me at sexologistshamira@gmail.com. So good luck with that. And now let's move right into orgasm. I remember one of the earlier sessions I had with someone who wanted to work on issues with orgasm on the Green Couch, which is my private practice here in Louisiana. This person sat on the couch and we, of course, were engaging in a sex history. And that is where I ask a series of questions related to this person's, or if it were you, it would be your sexual health and your sexual background. And so we were talking, and I remember asking them about orgasm and about masturbation. And I was like, well, what about orgasm? And this person said to me, we can't really do that, right? And I didn't really understand what they meant. So I asked them again. I said, well, we can't really do what? And they sat on the couch with a very, very straight face. My face was just, if you could see me, I have the fuzzied eyebrow look with the smile, the wrinkled smile lines. And I was like, what do you mean we can't do that? Well, that's something that people just really do on porn and TV. Like, women can't really do that, right? And so what this person was asking me is, do women really orgasm? Like, that's a real thing? And it was at that moment where I realized, wow, I have a lot of work to do. And so after that, I started working with more and more people with vulvas and clitorises who were having issues with orgasm, and people were coming from another state to see me, and I became known as the orgasm therapist. So let's talk about that. Yes, orgasm is something that many of us cannot do, but it is not something that is unheard of. A lot of times people with vulvas and clitorises are not supported enough to feel comfortable with orgasm, meaning you don't get a lot of positive messages about our bodies. The clitoris was actually just really researched and discovered a few years ago, not that long ago, like in the 2000s. And that is one of the reasons why we know now that the orgasm gap exists. We knew that it existed, but there's actual research now that shows us at what scale or on what scale it exists in the issues with it. And we are going to get into that. So basically, people who have a clitoris and a vulva, they are not orgasming like the people with a penis during sex with the people with a penis. And that's another reason why I created the Use Your Mouth Sex and Relationship Conversation Starter cards, is because one way to overcome this orgasm gap is to use your mouth. Yeah, that way. But the other way too, this way, speaking, talking about it, talking about sex, talking about your sexuality, talking about your fantasies, talking about your likes, talking about your dislikes, talking about what you were taught about sex growing up, what things that you're afraid of, the things that you are scared and ashamed to say about your sexuality, the things that you wouldn't even want to write in your journal about. But it is through those conversations that we learn more about ourselves, and that our partners are also able to learn more about us and to value our pleasure. See, the orgasm gap isn't just about orgasm. It is also about pleasure, which is another thing that many people with vulvas and clitorises aren't really supported in. during sex, because many of us were taught that sex was for our partners, right? Sex was something that was done to us. So no wonder why many of you are not able to orgasm if you thinking it's something that's done to you. Now, I do like the energy that we are on in 2020, where lots of people and women and people with vulvas and clitorises are taking back or are finding the power in their own pleasure and are exploring themselves. I am here for it. Please, if you are not on this train, get on it, because we need you to tap into your pleasure if we're going to close this orgasm gap. Forget everything you were taught. There are sex coaches and sex therapists out there who are willing and ready to talk to you and to help coach you through your sexuality and orgasm blocks. Okay? We're going to get through this. Now, because of the way our bodies are structured, a lot of people with a clitoris, they can't orgasm just through penetrative sex. So we need some help, right? So this is where your toys come in handy. And I know what people tell you sometimes. There are people who will tell you, oh, you shouldn't need a toy. Why do you need a toy when you're having sex? If you need to use a toy, then something is wrong with you. No, nothing's wrong with me. I just value my pleasure and my orgasm. Now, don't get me wrong. Orgasm is not the be all end all of sex. It's, but we do want to have an orgasm, right? We do want, because it feels good. It is not the goal of sex, but it makes it even better for a lot of people. And some people even think that if you are partnered, you shouldn't be using toys and tools, but don't be afraid of the toys and tools. They don't hurt. They can only help. They can only enhance the great sex that you are having, considering that you are having great sex, right? So here are some things about pleasuring yourself that could help you. So if you are a person who does have issues with achieving orgasm through penetrative sex, you need to masturbate. And I'm not going to tell you need to, but it's beneficial to masturbate because it helps you to figure out what you like. And when you know what you like, you know what you want to experience. And therefore, you can say, oh, no, babe, right here, not right there. You can tell your partner and they can be committed to your pleasure as well. 80% of women, or more than 80% of women and people with a clitoris and a vulva, need direct clitoral stimulation in order to orgasm. And we now know that the clitoris is more than what meets the eye. It's not just the glands, the part that we see when we look down or we look in the mirror. Yes, you need to be looking at that vulva in a mirror so you can see what it looks like, so you know what you're touching, okay? So you can direct your partner so that we can go ahead and close this orgasm gap. But yes, absolutely. I want you to know that your orgasm is your responsibility. Therefore, I need you to get on the train. If you are having issues, or if you have a friend who's having issues, get on this train and let's close this orgasm gap. When I say it's your responsibility, I mean you need to know your body. You need to know how your body orgasms so that you can tell your partner. Do not rely on a partner. I know. We hear, oh, you should be able to do this, or you should know me by now, or you're my partner. You should. Don't should on yourself and don't should on your partner. Your orgasm is your responsibility. However, if you have a partner who's committed to your pleasure, they're going to make it their responsibility as well. Okay? So again, more than 80% of people need direct clitoral stimulation in order to orgasm. That is a large number of people. That is probably most people with clitorises. So if you need a vibrator to help you orgasm, if you need a dildo, if you need a finger to reach around when you are having penetrative sex, by all means, do so. Because guess what? Chances are, if you are having sex with a man, and this I'm speaking specifically to heterosexual partners, if you are a woman having sex with a man, chances are he is going to orgasm every time you have sex. And chances are you're not. And that's what the orgasm is all about. It's all about the statistical disparity in the amount of times people orgasm in heterosexual relationships. So basically, during sex, women orgasm only about 65% of the time during sex with men. But men orgasm about 95% of the time, every time when they're having sex with women. Now, this number changes. Watch this. Women orgasm about 86% of the time with women. But again, only 65% of the time during sex with men. There are some issues with that, right? Outside of the obvious. But stop putting your orgasm in the control of the person you're having sex with. Also know that you don't only need penetrative sex, or you might need more than penetrative sex to orgasm. And guess what? Sex does not have to end when a man orgasms. This is where you come in, pun intended. But this is where you come in and you demand your pleasure. It is time for women to demand your pleasure. You demand, if you want to have an orgasm and your partner is committed to your pleasure, this is where they come in. No pun intended. But this is where they come in and they do whatever needs to be done in order for you to experience that same pleasure. You have to make sure you're using your mouth. Yeah, like that. But again, the other way, you need to make sure you're speaking and you're talking and you are letting your partner know what you need in order to orgasm. Because men are orgasming. Because look, even with gay men, they orgasm at least 89% of the time every time they have sex. Bisexual men, 88% of the time every time they have sex. Straight women, 65%. That is a gap indeed, right? So we need more equity when it comes to sex. We need there to be, we need pleasure to be a level playing ground when it comes for sex. Okay? So that's why I created the cards for people who have a problem talking about this. Because people are like, okay, well, Shamira, you're describing me, but how do I tell my partner that I'm faking it? One, stop faking it. That's not going to help you, and that's sure not going to help your partner understand what your pleasure needs are. Do not fake it when you're having sex. That is not going to help you. That is not going to get your needs met. But what you do want to say is, hey, babe, let's try this. I want to explore this. Or just come out and say, look, I've not been orgasming. And I think I would be able to orgasm more if we did this. Yes, you can be as direct when it is about your body and your pleasure. You can be as direct. I'm not saying to be rude or to try to hurt your partner's feelings, but I am saying to get them to understand that this isn't working. We need to do something differently. Hey, I notice when I masturbate, I orgasm in this position, or I orgasm with this. Let's bring that into the bedroom next time we have sex. And if they have a problem with the tool that you want to bring into the bedroom, tell them that your pleasure and your orgasm matters just as much as theirs. And if they care about it, then this wouldn't be a problem. Or just give me a call. I will talk to them for you. Okay? Now, another way that I like to encourage people to tap into their sexual pleasure is to figure out what is pleasurable to you outside of the bedroom. Like, what are the things that feel good or that bring you joy outside of the bedroom? Tap into those things, because those are things that are important to your overall pleasure well-being, but that can help you tap into your sexual pleasure even more. Okay? So remember, this conversation is going to be an ongoing conversation. Explore your kinkiness. Demand your pleasure. Your orgasm is your responsibility. Tap into pleasure outside of the bedroom so that you will be more prone to demanding your pleasure in the bedroom. And don't have sex with people who don't consider your pleasure and your orgasm. Until next time, bye you. Bye. You've listened to another conversation on the Green Couch with sexologist Shamira.